Ghana could be hit with fuel shortages soon following threat by tanker owners union to halt the transportation of fuel across the country over claims some foreign nationals have taken over their business under the local content law and the deregulation of the petroleum sector. The haulage of petroleum products across the country is reserved for indigenous Ghanaian companies. But according to the union, a Chinese firm behind the construction of an oil refinery at Tema has brought tankers to offload the petroleum products locally. Member of the union, Jantuah, tells my colleague Elton Broby they will withdraw their services if nothing is done about it.
You know that quite recently, a new refinery was built by the Chinese in Tema, next door to the Tema oil refinery. And we have no challenge with that. But then we realized that they have brought in 600 tankers. They're saying they come to haul their product into other OMCs. And we were asking, does MPA know about it? Because for anything like that, MPA should be aware. The excuse they gave was that the refinery that they built, how they load the refined petroleum products into the tanker, they do it through the bottom and not through the top. And that most Ghanaian tankers do not have bottom loading. But that is not true. Nearly 90% of tankers in Ghana have both top and bottom loading. So what is their intention? Why have they brought these 600 in? And we are of the opinion that they have brought it in to do haulage. And the challenge is that they can undercut because they are producing. They can undercut. And once they undercut, that means they are competing with other petrol companies. And then the next thing you see, they'll have their own petrol garages and gradually they take over. They have the money to bring in 600 trucks because they say the loading system is different. But we can do the same. We have the same loading mechanism. Now, they will tell you that, they are going to hire people. So let's say they hire 1,200 people. Compared to the number of people, we have over 5,000.
5,000 of your members or people who directly get employment from you?
Who get business from us. Drivers, maids, mechanics, all those people, maintenance people. They live on the work we do. So if you gradually now come and infuse your trucks into the system and you kill hours, what happens? The number of people that you hire, the 1,200, they are less than those who are going to lose their jobs and lose their livelihoods.
So the threat here is that you fear this automatically or eventually will drive you out of business.
Will kill the haulage business for Ghanaians who are in it. That is the fear.
The question is, if we look at the local content law and if we have foreign nationals, get into area reserved for Ghanaians, that should raise more concerns for you, isn't it?
It raises more concerns and government should have a look at it. Look, when we deregulated, at the time it was GMPC and those people who were distributing. Well, the moment we deregulated, it was made that that portion should be given to Ghanaians. So if you see Shell, BP, all those, they have tankers, but it's not their tankers. It is our tankers. But because we pick for them, we live for them, we paint our tankers with their emblems. But they don't own the tankers. Why should the refinery now come and say, we have our own tankers and we are distributing? Does TOR have its own tankers? MPA is a regulator. Do they have their own tankers? BDCs, who bring refined petroleum products, do they have their own tankers? They all depend on us. So if you're coming in, you're going to kill our business. And we've got to fight for it.
We have seen a correspondence between you and MPA. We've not seen MPA reply to your demands. Has there been any response from MPA regarding the concerns that we raised in this communication?
We haven't heard anything from MPA at the moment, but I just heard this morning that MPA said they are going to have a meeting with Jantuah. I am suggesting that the meeting they have with Jantuah, we should be present because it involves us. Let all three companies sit down and go into it into detail and let them know that this thing can't happen. Do you know in my head that when they were building the refinery, they even didn't start with having a license. It took the MPA boss to go there and tell them that they should stop and get the license first. So you can see there is some malice aforethought and intent in there for what they want to do. When they started doing Galamsey, what happened? Did they not take over? And their interest is to take over. And we can't sit for them to take over. We cannot sit.
The other question, and what we are hearing from some of your members, is that they intend to withdraw their services. And that will mean that they will stop hauling fuel across the country. The implications of this is what is of concern to a lot of people. Is that a vibe among your members, that if this is not addressed, they will withdraw their services, they will not transport fuel across the country, and then we're going to have a crisis on our hands?
It is the last point of call that we would want to do. We are hoping that we can have some discussions. Authorities that be will sit and talk this thing through. But if our backs are hit against the wall, there will be no option for us to do that but to go on strike and not lift, unfortunately.
What will be the implications of this?
Well, obviously, it's going to bring shortages into the country with petroleum products, because these truckers who haul to the petrol garages. So if they decide they are not going to haul again, who suffers? It's the Ghanaian who suffers because of a foreign company. No, it can't happen that way. It shouldn't. It will be our last point of call. But if we are not heard and things aren't straightened out, then we will have no choice, unfortunately.
So what is the level, what is the feeling among your members? Is there fear that they stand on the verge of losing their businesses?
There's fear, there's anger, there's frustration, we don't understand why families are a bit worried, because the likelihood of their husbands and their businesses going down is great. And most importantly, we have gone for loans from banks to buy these trucks.